Hello there, Kerry at the Soap Coach here, and today I'm going to be talking to you all about wholesale, stockists, selling at trade prices, all of that really, although it all comes under one topic. I'm a massive fan of this topic. I could talk about it all day. I won't do, don't worry, I will keep this as short and sweet as I can. But really it's all about how and why you should be selling your soap and skincare products at wholesale or through wholesale. So in a nutshell, what is wholesale? It is selling your products, so the things that you've made, through other businesses at reduced rates, and there's different caveats as to how that can work. Generally, you will sell at a price where they can then make a profit selling it on. That's the whole idea of doing it. There's lots of good reasons for doing that, and I know it can be a bit scary selling at a much cheaper price, and the figures don't seem to add up, but I will cover that today. And if you watch right through to the end, I will also give you my top tip on one thing that I really think that you should be having or including when you're approaching wholesalers. So, 5 different key methods of selling your products through other businesses. One is just general wholesale. That is where you sell your products as they are, so with your own branding on the existing range that you would normally make in bulk to, it can be stockists, it can be bricks and mortar stockists, it can be online stockists, it can be other businesses such as subscription companies, for example, who might want to put your products in their box. But it's keeping them as you would normally sell them with your branding on, and they will buy them in bulk at a reduced price. The next option is white label. So that will be selling your products as they are that you would normally make, nothing unusual, nothing special, but with a different branding label on there. So you might have a local, for me, a local dog grooming company who wanted to sell my products, but with their branding on, because they don't want to take the time to make the products, learn how to make the products, do all the legal aspects. So you would do all that for them, but with their branding on. The third option is private label. And that is where you will work with your potential stockist to come up with a product that's unique to them with their branding on. And most of the time, if it's human skincare products, soap, etc., it will still need your details on the back as the manufacturer, and that would be the same for white label as well. So white label and private label, they do get mixed up sometimes, but one is your normal range, but with someone else's branding, that's white label. Private label is where you're making a product that is unique to a different business, and generally you would only make that product for that business, and it will have their branding on. They're both wholesale still, and you would still have similar terms and conditions in that you would have a minimum order quantity, you would sell at a reduced price so that they can make a profit on it as well. The fourth one is consignment. I'm not a fan of consignment. It's where you will provide your products to a distributor or another company, and they will maybe display them in their shop, but you will not get paid unless they sell something. And then you would generally have a higher price, so they would get a smaller percentage than you, because in this scenario, they're not taking the risk, you're taking the risk, so you wouldn't give them such a big discount. I'm not a fan, because if you have damaged property or damaged stock, for example, or stolen stock, who's going to take responsibility for that? You would have to have very, very strong boundaries in place or agreements with that. And also, there's no incentive for them to sell your products. If they haven't had to buy them off you and pay for them in advance, then you're going to be a low priority, and you'll probably find that your stock is put somewhere out of sight, around the corner, on a bottom shelf, for example. So I'm not a fan of consignment. That said, yeah, I mean, Amazon would be a form of consignment if they are selling for you. It can work in something like that, but not on a smaller business, I would suggest. The other option is drop shipping. It's not something we do that much in this country, I don't think. And again, it's not something I've dabbled with, but not found much success with. And it's where a business model or platform will market your products for you, take orders for you. You will fulfill them, and then they will pay you for them. Now, I think Fair works along these lines. and I think that probably works quite well. If you're going to use any platform, then that's probably one of the better ones. Or there's one called the Crafter's House in the UK, I think. So that's an examples, and if you set up well, it's worth looking at, but look carefully at how it's set up. So those are the 5 different main methods of wholesale. And I know a lot of people do get a bit worried about the whole prospect of selling to another business, but it is just another customer, but with different terms and conditions. That's all it is. I know you will also have concerns about how much you sell them for at wholesale, what profit will you make from that? And there's no set you must sell your products at wholesale for this price or for this markup. However, generally, most businesses will be looking for to purchase from you at around 50% of the RRP. For smaller businesses, you might find that they can push it up a little bit more. Larger businesses will want it lower. They may well want 2.4 times. So they will. When I say 2.4 times, that will mean that they will want the RRP to be 2.4 times the wholesale price that they've paid you, which I know sounds horrifying, but you need to bear in mind that they have, a lot of them will have VAT to pay, which many of us as small businesses don't. So they will lose 20% straight away. They will have staff, they'll have overheads, they will have insurance, they'll have all of that. If they've got a bricks and mortar store, even more so. They will also have damaged stock, stock that doesn't sell and gets tatty and they have to sell off cheaply. So they have got a lot of risk associated with buying your products from you, and that is that's what you need to take into account. The way I look at it is manufacturing and making is yours or my zone of genius. And selling it is their zone of genius. So if you stay in your lane, your zone of genius, work out ways that you can manufacture larger amounts in a smaller time, they will do their bit of selling and marketing for you. But there's more benefits to it than that. So why would you want to do wholesale? We'll just cover that now. First of all, you're looking at the simple economies of scale. The more products you're making, the more you're selling, the more you can buy larger quantities of raw materials, which means you'll get it cheaper. So that's the first one, economies of scale. And that will lead to increased profit margins anyway. Second one, building relationships. So if you're building relationships with wholesale customers, you will get to a point where you have your regular wholesale customers who order every month, every 2 months, every quarter. Some of them might only order once a year if they're seasonal, but you'll get to a point where you have regular orders that you can reasonably rely on to be coming in without you having to put any effort into it, which is an absolute lifesaver. It really is. Exposure, especially if you're selling just your own products as a normal product and they're selling it with your logo, etc. on. So instead of having just say 2 or 3 shop windows, which for you might be Facebook, Instagram and your website, you could have 20, 30, 40 or more shop windows. So each of those businesses will be a potential shop window where you will be exposed to new customers who may well end up coming back to your website, which I found in the pandemic. I had about 70 stockists before the pandemic, and I was finding that a lot of them were going out to shops. And then the pandemic hit and my website sales shot up because people couldn't go to the shop, so they wanted their products, so they were looking for me online instead. So it without a doubt gave me a huge boost in exposure. Then stock control, that's my next one. Sorry, look, I've got a massive list of things here, I always have. Stock control, if you know that you're getting these regular sales in from your regular stockists, month in, month out, quarter in, quarter out, you can plan much better for making sure your stock levels are appropriate for your needs. And that will allow you to manage your inventory better. You will be able to streamline your processes so you can make a lot more in one go because you will have that knowledge that you will almost certainly sell them. It becomes much more effective in planning your making days. You can do your bulk purchasing of your raw materials. And as time goes on, you will get more and more confident at doing that. And the next final thing is marketing costs. Now, you're probably thinking, I don't have marketing costs, I don't pay for advertising, and you may well not do, but you will be spending, I'm sure, a lot of time on social media, promoting your products, trying to drive traffic to your website. And I'm not saying don't do that, because that's something that I encourage and I teach. But you won't be having to put the same amount of time in. And in fact, you can then create social media material from your wholesale work. You can do it behind the scenes. I'm making this order up today. If you're delivering, you can create social media posts from that. And then that will give you the social proof that will bring new stockists into you. So if they see you're delivering to that fancy new boutique on the harbour side, they are going to be thinking, wow, that looks lovely. Maybe we should be considering this. And it does work like that. So you can create social media from your day-to-day work without having to be thinking about what you're doing. So that's your 5 reasons for why you should be looking at doing wholesale. It's a numbers game, and looking at the numbers, and you probably are concerned about selling 100 soaps at a time for 50% of the cost you would normally be asking. And I do get that, but it's all in the mind. It's all a mindset game as well. So you could sell 100 bars of soap at a market, say £5 a bar, £500. Brilliant, you think, great. But take into account your costs of that soap. So it's probably cost you £100 to make it. You could quite easily be spending 10 hours by the time you've packed up the car, gone to your market or event, stacked it all up, spent the day there at a weekend when you could be with your family, and then maybe you do sell 100 bars. I'd suggest that you probably won't unless it's a big event. Yes, you could make £500, but you've done 10 hours work to do that potentially. You might only sell 10 bars. So it's a risk. I personally would much rather know that I've got those 100 bars going out at wholesale at half the price. It takes me an hour to package it all up, get it down the post office, or book Parcel Force to come and pick it up. So that's my theory on that. I'd much rather sell larger quantities at a lower price to stockists, who then also get me more eyes on my product, get me more followers in social media, potentially more people on my mailing list. It looks very different when you look at it from that perspective. So if you are reluctant to give up weekends, you find that your events that you're going to are just not doing it for you, they're not making as much money as they used to, and I know that has been very much a case recently, then I would highly recommend it as an additional sales channel. So that's a quick overview. It's a big topic. It's something I cover in a lot of detail in the Soap Suite. What I would say is my top tip, I covered it at the beginning, top tip, have a really good catalogue for your potential stockists to look at. I'm just going to show you mine. So this is a Canva catalogue. Bear with me. I'm hoping that this is the right screen. Bear with. Yes, it is. Sorry, I had to look at that just to make sure. This is a Canva catalogue. It's free to all my Soap Suite members. I think you can buy the template on my website. I'm sure I put it on there, it was a long time ago. But if you want to create something like this and you don't want to try and do the basics on Canva yourself, you're not very creative, then there is a template available. I think it's about £7 or £8 on my website, or it's free to Soap Suite members, along with a whole raft of other stuff in there as well. So if you have inquiries from stockists, or if you are approaching stockists that you think might be a good match for you, having something like this will be an absolute game changer. It will put you head and shoulders above everybody else. It makes you look professional. It will save you having emails coming back to you asking questions, because invariably, if you are just emailing backwards and forwards, you will forget things, and that's really time consuming, and time is money, as we know. So having a catalogue like this will mean that everything's in one place. It looks good. Having images is brilliant. You need to have really good images. That's a whole different topic, which I won't cover now. But in here, you can include a bit about you, You have details of all your products. I've got mine all hyperlinked back to my website so that people can go straight back to it and see them, get more information if they want to. Make sure you put the trade prices on there. A little bit about useful information. So for me, it's CLP for dog products because it comes under different legislation. Human products, I've got all this in here as well, but it gives you the opportunity to tell them everything that they need to know, how it works, terms and conditions. Communication is the most important thing for wholesale, I find. If everyone knows what to expect and how it works, you won't have any problems whatsoever. Testimonials, always happy. I've got lots on the website, but put some on your catalogue as well. So if you do nothing else, please just consider having a really good wholesale catalogue. But really, my point here was to just try and encourage you to think about going down the wholesale route, because for me, it has been an absolute game changer. Without my wholesale, I would not have got to where I was in business. Okay, hope you found that's useful.